Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode 4. We're talking conspiracies today.
Tinfoil hats at the ready. We've got a whole bunch of football-based conspiracies to go through, and we'll get your opinions at the end on which you think are true, which are a little bit sus.
There's some weird ones on there.
Yeah, I think it's all a bit sus. Like, obviously, football being a massive game, there's money, there's power,
a lot of corruption.
Yeah, there's sus behaviour moving around.
I think a lot of it as well goes on, like, not unnoticed, but just like people just don't really, they care, but they just turn a blind eye to it because, you know, we love football.
I think one of the things that is always shrouded in susness, should we say, is the World Cup. Because stuff like the Prem and like league-based competitions, because it's happening so often, so quick, and in such public eye all the time, you're like play your cards very right most of the time. Because the World Cup is every 4 years, they've got time to move sus. They've got time to plan out sus behaviour.
The World Cup is the single biggest sporting event on the planet.
Yeah. There's too much money in it to not be sus.
And yeah, I mean, there's money in it for the teams, for the countries that hosts it.
Yeah.
All the sponsorship. It's an insane amount of money. It's the most viewed sporting event in the world, isn't it? So, I mean, it does put the Super Bowl to shame.
Yeah, Super Bowl stinks, but
I think I know what you're getting to. Yeah, I think you're looking at.
So the main one is Ronaldo.
Yeah, 98 Ronaldo. I think maybe
R9.
The most famous conspiracy theory in football.
Yeah. Big R9.
What? Why? What happened?
Is, at that point in time, the biggest player on the planet.
Biggest player on the planet alongside Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah.
So I think Zidane that year won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo had won it the year before that. And then
their countries as well, France and Brazil, were favourites for the World Cup.
Favourites for the World Cup is in France.
Yeah.
France hosts. And yeah, Brazil just absolute titan at the time. And then so the conspiracy theory is that Ronaldo was forced to play in that cup final.
Yeah.
Whether it was down to sponsorships or whether it was down to just like he wasn't actually injured or
forced
he didn't have anything. Yeah,
so there is like theories that he had like a seizure pre-game.
I don't think they're theories anymore. I think they are. I think that is fact. Yeah, I think he did an interview with Gary Lineker.
Oh, okay.
Where he was like, "What was it about?" And he was like, "I don't know. Maybe it was a seizure induced by panic attack or what."
Oh, okay, maybe just like nerves or what. But yeah,
he did have knee injuries at that time, didn't he?
And he was like full of like painkillers all the time.
Apparently, yeah. Do you see the leak? There was like a leak footage with like a Brazil coach from that time, and he was like, "Yeah, it was actually every day he was just getting injections into his knee to play."
Jesus, yeah. So anyway, so he has this pre-game. Well, it's not like immediately pre-game. It's like
it was either the night before or it was the morning of.
And so obviously, if you have a seizure now before a game, you're not playing that game. Even back then, if you have a seizure pre-game, you're not playing
regardless
that game. But he was Brazil's star man. Like literally, like him and Zidane are the face of the World Cup.
The face of their countries.
The face of their countries.
And
the face of two massive sports brands.
Yeah, we got Ronaldo with Nike and from like the Yoga Bonito ads.
Come on, knows ads.
And you got Zinedine Zidane, the face of Adidas. Yeah. And I mean, if you're Nike,
you're not having your star man
and you have literally like your star man, your number one sponsorship exposure maker. Like this guy just does everything for you. And he's going to miss out on playing in the biggest single event in the world.
Yeah.
In front of however many millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
But your rival's going to have their player playing. I don't think, not happening. Yeah. But I mean, regardless of that though, if you're Nike, and you know he's not going to play well if he's injured or he's just had a seizure, do you really want your star man going out and putting on a stinker like he did?
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, because if Adidas are in the other half, aren't they? If Adidas weren't in the other half, say it was just like a random Donny, not sponsored by Nike's biggest competitor, they would have just been like, yeah, we can allow you not playing. But for them to lose like all the limelight to Adidas is a bit of a stinker for them.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, so he wasn't even in the team sheet like on the lead up to kickoff. He suddenly then appeared in the starting 11 about 10 minutes before the game kicked off.
Yeah, they must have had like a call or something from
it's just the higher ups just something Nike, weird, like, and it's something that we don't see ever happen in football. You don't see players not in the team sheet get into the starting lineup just out of nowhere 10 minutes before a game starts.
Now I think the thing is there's so much info all the time that if someone was,
it's so regulated.
If someone was like we'd find out if like someone had a seizure. We'd find out if Nike down the line had like been like, you've got to play.
Jack Grealish can't go to Vegas and celebrate winning the title with his mates.
You see, he's in the swimming pool with Andy Robertson. Like, why are they boys?
I don't know, man. The Premier League's a weird place. It's a weird,
why are they
it's
boys?
a weird cesspit of intermingling, and I don't think certain people like it. People like Roy Keane, they don't like
go and have fun.
They don't like players interacting with other teams' players.
No,
but,
I feel you.
I mean, fair enough. Wherever floats your boat.
But that is a weird one, isn't it?
But yeah, the Ronaldo. Going back to Ronaldo, the other thing was there's rumours that the Brazilian footballing body were offered 15 million to throw the game, which doesn't really sound like a lot of money. Even in '98, it doesn't sound like a lot of money. But it was also in exchange for hosting a future World Cup. And getting an easy draw in the 2002 World Cup, which they did get. But I mean, if you're Brazil at the time, pretty much any draw is easy unless you get like France in the first like 2 rounds.
Exactly.
I mean, we can move on to that maybe.
Like you were bringing up, the 2002 World Cup. So it's not even like 98 was a one-off of just being sus. It actually goes straight into the next World Cup in Korea, which, I don't know, is already sus. I don't know, like a non-footballing nation to do, firstly, to get the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then to do as well as they did. They made it to the semi-final of the World Cup. And not even just like England, where they beat shit teams all the way. They actually beat Italy, a prime Italy, and Spain.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And like,
fair enough. Decisions.
Yeah, it's fair enough if they beat them, like, and you're like, oh, well done, South Korea. Like, good job. They beat them with just so much dodgy refereeing.
There's a lot of evidence as well for this one being terrible, and it does go down to the referee.
Yeah. So the first game out of the group stages, they actually finished top of their group, which is nuts. And then they get Italy in their first knockout round, and it finishes 1-1 at full time. And back then, it went to golden goal instead of extra time. Mm-hmm. This is the last World Cup that
bring back golden goal.
Come on,
I love golden goal.
I love golden goal. Is such a like.
It is so much better than penalties.
So anyway, bring back golden goal. It goes to golden goal, and Totti gets sent off. And this is like Italy's star man at the time. Talk to me about Francesco Totti. What an absolute boy. Anywho, he gets sent off for a dive.
Can I interject it?
Yeah.
You know, Nicholas Bentner has won as many Scudettos as Francesco Totti.
But he stayed at Roma while they were stinky.
Yeah, but Nicholas Bentner, Lord Bentner, mate.
And Lord Bentner is a baller.
Carry on, sorry.
Anywho, so he gets sent off for a dive, which, if you've seen the video, is definitely not a dive. Just a shocking decision. Anyway, at that point, Italy still all right. You can beat South Korea with 10 men. So they score, and he gets given offside, even though it wasn't offside. So that's a second dodgy call. And then South Korea go and score the golden goal winner and knock out Italy. So that's already mad. That's like one super sus game.
Yeah, the refereeing was something else that game. I mean,
so bad.
If you look at the Totti dive in quotation marks, it's not a dive, is it?
No, not at all.
Not a dive. And then the offside decision.
The offside position is so bad.
I mean, if you had VAR, then.
But I don't get how it works, because like, surely, even though like South Korea have bid for the World Cup, won the World Cup bid, it's not their referees.
No, it's not.
It's like just from all the different leagues.
Yeah,
and whatever.
but the fact that they even won a bid in the first place, I mean,
they must have them all.
They have some crazy stadiums out in Korea.
Yeah,
they've got like some like 60, 70, 80,000 seat stadiums.
Asian football now is actually pretty sick.
But like, and maybe I don't know if they were about before the World Cup or they were built for the World Cup bid.
Maybe like Qatar situation where they build it for the World Cup.
But I mean, fair play, like non major footballing nations can host the World Cup, and I mean, you look at like South Africa World Cup, what a banging World Cup.
Such a good waka. Come on.
And it is important to be able to share football around the world to the nations and introduce it so that in the future, children that will have watched that at a young age want to play football in those nations and they improve their like national team status.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, to get the World Cup is one thing. Then to perform how they did and make it as far as they did is
maybe
just,
that's why
shocking.
Football in Asia is blown up. because of how good Korea's performance of the World Cup was. But
I mean,
shrouded in controversy.
So like you remember when Greece won the Euros?
Yeah.
Greece were good.
Yeah.
They came out and they did something that no one thought they would do, and they were good. But in South Korea, they weren't even good.
No, like they were like, but I don't know, better than I think people give them credit for. But it's just overshadowed by how far they got due to dodgy refereeing. The referee in that game against Italy, he's been arrested multiple times for taking bribes, for like being part of like weird gangs. He got done for smuggling heroin. How's he refereeing a game?
I mean, to be fair, everyday people can get done for smuggling heroin. I mean,
you should be refereeing the knockout round of the World Cup.
Regardless, my man should have been locked up with the decisions that were made on that pitch that day.
So bad. And so he didn't referee the next game. The next game they had was against Spain in the quarters. And Spain should have won in normal time. They scored a normal goal, perfectly fine, in every single way, but it was offside. And then it goes to extra time again, so it's goal and goal. And they score another one. And it's ruled out for going off a corner when it didn't go, like, the ball didn't go off the pitch. So that was fine. And then it goes to penalties and Korea win 5-3. How have they got, I think throughout the whole thing, it's like 3 goals that against them have been ruled out for offside or like
that's
going
insane.
off, which is fucked.
The World Cup, like you say, is just so massive. It is the biggest sporting competition on the planet.
Yeah.
There is people who would like to make money through dirty means, and the World Cup's a great target for it.
Like putting stinky bets on.
If we move to something a bit more modern,
a bit more at home.
20 years later, well, not even 20 years later, it's probably like 15 years later, because the bids for the Russia and Qatar World Cup, some of that stuff is absolutely, it's concrete evidence of corruption in football at the highest level.
Like Platini and who's the other Don? Seb Blatter?
We've seen Blatter, we've seen so many people from football governance bodies, the lead governing bodies.
Like, I think they're currently in court, like now, trying to like argue the case. But I think it is actually like a live case. At the moment.
Like Russia getting the World Cup. Okay, Russia does have a bit of footballing pedigree.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And another fair enough thing about the Russia World Cup is from all the people that I've seen that went out there expecting it to be like bad and kind of scary. They've
saying there's like KGB training camps and stuff, but apparently it was fucking amazing.
I heard it was like actually like one of like the nicest places to go.
Apparently the people were some of the most welcoming.
Yeah.
So you have obviously people who follow their national teams away everywhere.
Yeah, I heard good vibes of Russia.
I heard brilliant things, yeah.
But obviously now it's like fucked, and I mean, how much of that was just ridiculous. A show because they have hosting.
I think you find it with a lot of countries they can put on a show, isn't it? I mean, that's why they obviously build these stadiums, or like they build these parks around the stadiums, and it's all very contained.
Yeah,
like you don't really see the actual nature of the country. But I mean, I didn't go, so I have no idea. Qatar getting a 2022 World Cup.
That's fucked.
What is that about?
Firstly, just the fact that they got it.
I'm sure a lot of people hadn't even heard of Qatar before the World Cup.
The fact that they got it and were able to move it to winter, like, how's that even possible?
Yeah, that's ridiculous, because I mean,
like, they shouldn't have got it as a nation anyway.
The World Cup,
but then you can't.
What was it, since the 40s?
Yeah,
has been
since
held
ever,
at the same time of year for nearly 100 years, like 80 years.
We should be in the middle of the World Cup right now.
Exactly. We should have stuff to talk about.
We should be doing a World
fucking
Cup
conspiracy theory episodes.
Yeah, I fucking got our tinfoil hats on about why we're not in the World Cup.
Scraping the barrel for ideas. Only 4 episodes in.
4 episodes in.
Qatar. What the fuck? I mean, not just the fact that they've got it.
Comes, though, talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, football's football. I love football, but everything surrounding it as well. Everything surrounding it.
Yeah, the amount of deaths.
They had no stadiums or facilities ready to be able to host. There's no football infrastructure in that country. The country itself is so hot that they can't play football in stadiums that aren't air conditioned.
Yeah,
and they can't play it in the summer. There's lots of football in the nation for a reason. All right,
if you're
that's fine.
a gay supporter, you can't go out there.
Can't go out there.
Fucking arrested.
I mean, like people, I've seen things saying like if people have one night stands, they're gonna get 7 years in prison.
If you have a one night stand in Qatar, you get arrested.
What's that got to do with football?
That's so mad, isn't it? Like your team wins the World Cup, and then you find another bird that's like wow, and then you get arrested.
I mean, how do they know? They track you going in and out of hotels.
Yeah,
like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. It's a bit weird.
The problem is, one of the best things about the World Cup, apart from the football, is the atmosphere that's generated, and like nothing really done it better than for me the South Africa World Cup.
The Brazil one was good.
World Cup. The Vuvuzelas. Is that Vuvuzelas in South Africa or Brazil?
Brazil?
It was Brazil, I think.
Yeah, Brazil.
It was Brazil, yeah.
Just like good vibes. Summer vibes.
Yeah, and the cameraman just panning around to all the fit ladies in the stands. Come on. That's the best part of the World Cup.
Imagine being that's your job. He's like,
yeah,
find one in the next 20 seconds. Bosh! But,
my man's moving like John Wick with the camera.
Come on.
But yeah, I mean, there is no footballing pedigree. Qatar doesn't have it.
Like,
and
the fact that their country, obviously, like the host nation,
they're just renowned for money. That's all
their team gets
for,
into
really.
the World Cup is laughable because, like, they haven't got a team. Like,
they wouldn't qualify.
They wouldn't qualify at all. And so the fact that they can have a team, they've like someone else's country has lost a spot because they get in for free. I'm
gonna put it out here right now. Yeah, if Qatar get out of their group in the World Cup, corruption in football is taken over, and
if they get out of the group, I'll put 20 on them to win it because something's gone on and they're going all the way.
Who's getting threatened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Qatar have
England
won it.
pulled Qatar and then Southgate's like caught up in like a hostage situation.
Yeah, Qatar have literally won it through the fact that they have just an unlimited amount of money.
Yeah, they're like. So how many teams? So how many teams? They run like so many big clubs now, Qatar. I mean, they run PSG, or is that Saudi Arabia? I don't know.
I just can't remember. I mean,
but
I just know.
Yeah, they run so many big clubs. They run so many stars like Mbappe. Fucking. You see, like they wanted to buy out like Vinicius.
A lot of it mingled with the Saudi Arabia like consortiums and everything. So like obviously now you've got Newcastle, you've got PSG. You've got Man City.
That's probably what they're saying. They're probably like, we're not going to plough all our money into club football anymore if you don't let us host this World Cup or something along those lines. Probably
there's been a lot that's come out even recently about the Qatar World Cup. So the Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, has been investigating, and they have on record said that representatives working for Russia and Qatar have had bribed FIFA officials into securing hosting rights for the World Cup.
Yeah, it must have.
And prosecutors have made accusations and indictments charging 3 media executives and sports marketing companies as well. Things including wire fraud and money laundering as well. It's a lot. It is just a bit ridiculous. Like football is such a basic game. Yeah. At heart, it is literally 22 men on a field, all women, all children, whatever, playing football. Literally,
children. The World Cup of children.
Just kicking a ball around, man. Like that's it. There's 2 goals. The ball goes out, it's a throw-in or a goal kick or whatever, you know what I mean?
Just in case you didn't know how to play football, who's going to run you through the rules of the game?
But like, it's gone to... Football is such a global sport, yeah. It is literally a lifestyle for so many people.
Is the problem that Neymar transferred to PSG? Is that where it all went wrong? I mean, it went wrong a little bit before that anyway, but is that where it went wrong?
He's got some mad stats though, you know.
Who, Neymar?
I mean, you can't deny it. He has some mad stats.
I think Neymar's a baller.
Yeah, but I mean, people slate him because he's gone to... I think anyone who goes to PSG will get slated because...
I think Neymar is really one of the most, like... what's the word? Like, berated. He's not underrated because I think he's like adequately
understated?
Yeah.
Do you think people belittle his achievements?
Yeah, I think he just gets hate for reasons that aren't really good reasons. Yeah, he left Barcelona. I won't cry about it. He gave them like 200 million and they're somehow still in debt. Like, what's that about? That's a Barcelona problem. Anywho,
I think so. You go back to Qatar.
Yeah. Sorry, I just rattled by like the fact that I don't know,
people out there beefing Neymar for no reason.
Yeah, love you, Ney.
I'd love to see Neymar in the Premier League.
Just going to crack another bit. We were sponsored by, what was it, the Garden Beer Company last time. We've got Motive beer company this time. It's called
Mechanics of Illusion.
Yes.
We are drinking some funky beers.
some weird pale ale. I got this like
It might
crate
come
of,
out and
like,
it might just be a gas in there. I don't know.
this crate of like
Some random
unique
beers. Yeah.
indie beers, and they're all a bit sus.
These might be one of a kind beers. Yeah. So going back to Qatar and the World Cup. That was a good pour, Ros. You want to flake with that?
I'll put that pour on our Twitter. It's a shocker.
It is a shocker. So the US obviously bid for the 22 World Cup.
Yeah.
And they lost out to Qatar in a runoff by a group of voters because Qatar had trimmed 2 of the voters to sell their votes, and it was all caught on film. Like, how is it allowed to continue? How are they still allowed to host?
I'd love a USA World Cup like that. Is coming.
Yeah, the USA, Canada, is in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
Mate, that's gonna be sick. Some of the stadiums are amazing.
Watch your space. BoreDraw goes to America for the World Cup.
Live out there. Come on,
it's happening.
Mate, let's do it. Yeah, just it is ridiculous. It should not be allowed.
This one's worse than the last beer. This one's way worse.
Yeah,
but yeah. So for me, the World Cups are always just very sus. I think there's too much money, too much time for like weird behaviours to be, because
the fact that the bidding process literally starts like 10, 15 years in advance is the reason there's issues.
So early.
Obviously, you have to give countries time to build an infrastructure and to build the stadiums and make sure they're prepared.
Yeah.
But that is why it should happen beforehand. The football country that wants the World Cup should have a footballing infrastructure already built in.
Yeah.
Give it to nations that actually deserve it. And I'm not saying that nations who can't afford, to have footballing infrastructures already, like, that are up to the standard, don't deserve it.
What you should do is, like, FIFA should be pumping money into developed footballing nations and making them better. Not, here's the World Cup because you fucking got
or
P.
Just
and then
co-host with countries. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we could do such a sick, like, World Cup, I don't know, in like Eastern Europe. Maybe not anymore.
Like
not at the minute.
Obviously not right now.
Maybe like Central Europe. If you did one, sick. Like,
like the Germany one was good. The Berlin World Cup was good.
But like, you obviously get to experience a mix of cultures and stuff. And I mean, maybe it's not ideal for people that want to travel and go to loads of games because they have to go through all these customs and everything. But
it's good.
Anyway, should we move on to
moving away from the World Cup?
Should we move on to something that happened quite recently?
Yeah, a bit more local and UK based, not world based.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to impact the Premier League and the Championship for years to come.
One kind of bridge between them is money. I think the bridge between all of them is money.
We're talking about now the richest game in football.
Yeah. So the World Cup, the problem is there's too much money because every country in the world pretty much is involved.
Problem with the Premier League
is there's too much money in it.
Problem with the Championship is there's not enough money.
Everyone's trying to get to the Premier League to get that money.
Yeah, bro, that's literally it. It's fueled by money.
So we're talking the playoff final that just happened in Forest Huddersfield. I mean, we spoke about that in our other podcast. We said that Huddersfield were very, 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 very unlucky. So this is the most expensive game in football, pretty much.
Yeah. So
the payments you get if you're a Championship team getting into the Prem.
It's not to do with the prize money you win.
Nah, it's
from
just
winning the game. It's
just
to do with
everything involved.
Yeah. So you actually do get more money from winning this than you do from going up in first or second place.
Yeah, 100%.
And they're mainly talking about the TV deals.
Yeah.
And the sponsorship deals that come along with being in the Premier League that allow you to become just a giant in football.
Yeah.
The game was a pretty poor game.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with, like, everyone just shits themselves when they get to the final. It's a bit of a poor game. But if you were to watch the game, Huddersfield were the better team.
So I think
Nottingham Forest started off all right.
Yeah.
And then kind of sat back, and Huddersfield just took
Second
control
half,
of the game.
Huddersfield were the team.
Obviously,
that
they had to chase the game, but
2 penalties that were. So this is the first Championship game that has VAR involved with.
It's fucked that the whole Championship season is no VAR. The whole playoffs is no VAR until the final, and then they get VAR involved.
I mean, it doesn't fucking matter anyway because they made wrong decisions anyway.
Yeah,
like
it's so
what was
bad.
the fucking point? Obviously, John Moss had an absolute nightmare on his retirement party.
Yeah,
shit the bed.
He stinks.
He's gone, thank God. Huddersfield were denied two of the clearest penalties, and people were saying maybe it's proof that the Premier League is trying to control its
the teams
product.
that come up. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Forest are a massive club.
Yeah,
brilliant support, and perhaps the Premier League sees that as a bigger investment into their brand.
Well, it's like the Leeds story, isn't it? It's like a sleeping giant that's been down for too long that needs to come back up to the big time. That is a sellable story.
I mean,
a team that's won more Champions Leagues than Man City, than Arsenal, than fucking, I don't know, all the teams at the top, Spurs,
than Luton,
the whole tight Luton. No, they stink. But yeah, this sleeping giant that's a Premier League great. Them coming back to the Prem is a sellable story that they'd love. If not,
it brings way
but
more.
If Huddersfield were to do it, it's like oh yeah, well done Huddersfield. They're not making. Well, they're not making story.
You know what I mean?
You can't release like a documentary on Huddersfield. Well, you can, but it's not
not
got the
offense to
same.
Huddersfield, but like Forest are the bigger club.
Yeah, 100%.
Massive.
And Premier League are probably just like, for our game, we want the teams that have got the most history, bigger stadium, which means we can sell more tickets. We get a bigger cut.
That's it. I mean, it is strange that the way the decisions were made, but I mean, people argue like there's a reason why the teams in the Premier League are the bigger teams, and it's because they are just the bigger teams. And the reason that clubs from the Championship, even like Sunderland, who've been relegated to League One, recently got promoted again, they'll probably go back to the Premier League before a lot of other teams because
100%.
They have that big support who demand more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They've got massive stadium. They've got people who wouldn't be involved with the club because they've got such a good history, and that's the reason that they always do get promoted above these other teams. Like even my team QPR, we don't have the same sort of fan bases as Sunderland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got like a 50,000 seater stadium or something crazy. Like we got a 18,900 seater. Like it's different. There are different levels to this game. So for them, what happened was crazy going down to League One and being stuck there. But they are a big club and they will bounce back, and that is the nature of football. The big clubs do bounce back.
Yeah.
And
unless you're Leeds and you're down for like 20 years. But
that's an argument to be had on the conspiracy theory that Forest and Huddersfield were. Well, the game was rigged.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
but maybe it is. Who knows?
Nottingham Forest, I think the moment they got into the playoffs were probably like cherry picked. Not taken away from like Stevie Coops and the job, but you brought up your team QPR.
Yeah,
you're not without controversy either.
Maybe the biggest controversial.
One of the best.
One of the best and one of the most controversial moments in Premier League history.
Yeah, it provided even if it is sus, who gives a fuck?
Unless you're a United fan.
Yeah, you provided
the
best, one of the best moments in Premier League history. We're talking Aguero.
Wow, that was good.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, this has recently been brought up again because I know Paddy Kenny was beefing some people on Twitter a lot. Basically, the whole main line.
Nothing I hate more than a past player just getting absolutely shirty on Twitter.
There's nothing I love more than having an entire football fan base, Twitter fan base, on ropes on Twitter.
It's just like
just riding people up with tweets.
It's just like you've got too much money to be.
Yeah, but he's retired. He doesn't really do much. Like, I mean, he's probably chilling. You know, he's just.
I was saying you got too much money to be beefing kids on Twitter.
But yeah, so anyway, Wayne Rooney has also recently commented saying that Paddy Kenny should have done better with the City 2 goals, and that's fair enough. I mean, okay, what do you want to say about that? Maybe he should have. Maybe he could have done worse. I mean,
be like, I was shit.
I mean, he's playing for QPR, so
yeah,
I love Paddy Kenny, one of my favourite keepers. So, he also said that QPR were kicking the ball, especially after the second equaliser. Goal.
Yeah, you just kicked the ball straight back to them. You just kicked it straight back to them.
My argument to this is we are QPR and we were shit, and we stayed up by the.
I think you don't take a centre and then just boot it into Man City's like. Just to them, like
I mean, it was also weird though because that game was massive for us because we were going to go down unless we beat City. Or we betted, I think it was Stoke's result. Stoke or Bolton, I can't remember now. We beat Stoke like a couple of weeks before, and Cisse did like a backflip, it was mad. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, we were basically we found out we were safe like within the dying embers of the game, like the last 5 minutes, we were safe. Then obviously, Aguero happened.
Yeah,
and then everyone's celebrating because QPR are safe. We're all going mental,
And
then
Man
you've got
United haven't won another
City
Premier
going
League.
safe, and
Yeah.
you're going mental, and then you've got.
I think the thing
United
is,
fans crying.
no one in the country wanted Man United to win another
They
Premier
were
League.
too good at the time. They had won too many things,
I think
and sometimes
were they on like 2 on the trot at that point? And you don't want Man United to win another Premier League. It's so boring at that point. Obviously, City haven't started their kind of surge to the top, and now they're boring.
I wonder
as
how
fuck.
many people Fergie beat up in that changing room. Because
Hair dryers flying all over
that
the
is
place.
that's also a thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
he's just
Fergie
smacking
beating up
up,
his
man,
players. Fergie times the conspiracy theory.
Well, fucking,
But
we won't even talk about Howard Webb, mate.
What was weird about the QPR one was that Gilles Cisse was celebrating with the City players at the end, and so like it's a bit weird. But I mean,
he's there like Aguero.
he's trying to get a contract.
Yeah, he's like, can I have your shirt?
I mean,
That
yeah.
shirt it sold recently, didn't it? For like fucking like 50k
money,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think that it's not a conspiracy theory. I think QPR were just shit. There's a reason that we
think
went down the next season.
There is like a subliminal. Everyone's sick of Man United. And I think the problem for Man United is what you said about QPR knowing they were safe. If they were still like trying to do something, maybe it would be different. But as soon as you found out you're safe, and you were already conceding, it's like, who actually gives a fuck anymore? And Man City are like giving it beans.
We were just so poor, right? And then suddenly, out of nowhere, we went 1-0 down to Liverpool, and then we scored 3 goals on the trot and beat Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool with Luis Suarez and Steven Gerrard, right?
Gerrard.
And bloody Croates, the centre back, scored an overhead kick against us.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Mackie scored the winner. Unbelievable.
I was going to say, is that Mackie era?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then we suddenly just won a few games on the bounce. We were back in the relegation scrap, and then we scored 2 goals against City. No one expected us to, and
find out you're safe.
then we find out we were safe.
You
Who cares
think,
anymore?
fuck it.
Yeah, we had players that just didn't want to be there. We
Yeah.
were there for a paycheck. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You'd rather
regardless,
be, because that game just wouldn't be on TV ever again if you just went and won, and
Yeah.
Man United went and won the league,
That's
but they threw away the game. Now that game is played at least once a week.
I mean, to be fair, I have
For
mixed
every
feelings about
City
it.
fan.
I don't like. I like the moment, but I kind of don't. I wish it wasn't against QPR. Because
yeah,
it's like
obviously.
like the QPR part of it is a bit irrelevant. It's mainly just there for it's watching Aguero smash it into the back of the net.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe I wish it wasn't against QPR. But maybe I'm just happy to be there. You know,
Just happy to be involved.
just happy to be involved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
happy to be a part of it.
We're not involved in
It-
much at the minute.
I was
So
going to say, that is almost your Premier League trophy.
I mean, we finished
club.
second once.
As a club.
We finished runners up. Big Les Ferdinand.
Come on.
I mean, we were a big club. We were. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Bill's taking us back, mate. Michael Bill's on fire.
Michael Bill.
We've signed Jake Clark-Salter. We've signed Paul.
Oh, yeah, did you get a geezer from Aston Villa, didn't you? Or
Who, Cameron Archer?
I don't know, was he?
No,
from
we
Aston Villa?
hopefully, I mean, if we get Cameron Archer, I'm going to book the tickets now
Come
for the celebration tour.
Let's go. Open bus.
We won the
Open
IB for
top
Cup.
bus. The IB for Cup?
Yeah, QPR won the IB for Cup, mate.
Come on.
Like 2006 or
Do
something.
you get a trip to IB for if you win?
I think it was
with
paid in
Jack
IB
Grealish
for. It was
and
paid in IB for get some
Andy Robertson.
flodgy teams. Yeah, I don't even know who
Come
they were. All right, back to it. So I mean, there's one that's been going on this sort of year, particularly, is the Liverpool asthma player percentage. Like so apparently there was reports that
I didn't really know about this until you told me about this a couple of weeks ago.
apparently 63% of Liverpool players have been diagnosed with asthma, and that's run against the UK average of 12% of people having asthma. Okay,
Which is crazy.
those figures, about 63%, have no founding to them. No one really knows where they came from.
Oh, okay.
And also, has any Premier League club ever released their players' medical details like that ever?
No.
Like, I remember I read something somewhere about a guy saying they don't just like pin up to a board and say who has asthma, who doesn't.
Yeah.
There is some weird thing. I mean, people are saying like, look at Liverpool's injury record. They've got like the best injury record in the league or something. Have they? Because I remember the season when they lost Fabinho, Van Dijk, like Edison,
And then they almost dropped out of Champions League. Yeah.
Like-
They lost like 4 and bounce Burnley.
They literally were playing like they got Nat Phillips in,
Yeah.
Ben Davies, like
Yeah.
they had Milner playing at every position.
Come on.
Like
Man,
the argument's not really there. I mean, people look at their press, their ability to press when any team
wouldn't
has the ball.
be able to do that if you had
And it is unbelievable.
high
But
amount of
maybe that is
athletic
just
players.
hard work and determination. And
Yeah, I feel like you just high level football. You wouldn't be able to have that many players.
I mean, if Pep's
it's like heavy asthmatic.
play style was a heavy press like Jurgen's was, I think we'd see City doing the same.
Yeah.
I don't think it's got anything to do with this asthma.
Nah.
Or is it Sabutamo or something like the
Sabutio, what a game!
Sabutio's lit, man. Maybe get sponsored by Sabutio. That'd be sick. Sabutamo, I think it's like a relaxer. It relaxes the muscles around the airways, which allows you to intake more oxygen.
Oh, okay.
It's banned.
Oh.
But yeah, like, what's that got to do with anything? Like, the other thing is players getting injured when they actually might be doing drugs.
Jackie Grealish.
What's Jack that?
Nah.
Leave
We
Jack
love
Grealish
Jack.
alone.
We love Jack.
Grealish is getting beefed here for absolutely no reason.
I
I'm
like
not
Jack
on board with
Grealish.
it.
I just think he's an absolute boy.
Why can't players? Yeah, he's got to a World Cup final. Euros final. Yeah, then he won the Premier League.
Yeah,
right.
He's having a good time.
Let him enjoy himself, mate. Just like he's not hurting anyone.
Yeah, I think
and
that's.
I think it's an older generation of football fan that is really like they want their players to literally do nothing.
Maybe it's like a Gascoigne situation. Everyone's scared that like they'll go off the rails and be like,
yeah, but if we lose Jack Grealish, it's all right because we've got Chris Willock.
Chrissy Willock, come on. But no, I get what you mean. You're talking about Jack Wilshere. He's like the high profile back in the day player that was like an absolute star boy, and then just decided that his body was going to be made out of paper mache and would get injured every game, allegedly get injured every game. And people saying, oh, is it because he's smoking all the time? Is he doing drugs? He was pictured out, I think, doing like coke once, maybe. I don't know. That's obviously no hard details. I'm not that guy. I have no idea. Hold tight, Jackie Wilshere. Love the boy. But anywho, he decided his body was made of paper, so he was injured all the time. And there was rumours that it was because of extracurricular activities.
There was also rumours about Rooney as well. Whilst under Ferguson.
Was it sleeping with grandmas?
No, it's not even that. For him getting on the gear. And he was due to, so obviously the clubs do their own in-house drug testing.
Yeah.
And so do the footballing bodies of that nation. So obviously Wayne Rooney, England superstar, he was going to like join up with the England team, whatever. I think he went to Fergie. Well, it's rumoured that he went to Fergie and was like, oh yeah, by the way, I've been getting on it. I'm going to fail.
Sorry, boss, I've been getting on it.
And then Fergie went to the FA and had it all brushed under the carpet.
I heard about there was something similar to this.
This is all speculation. This is why it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, there was something similar to this with like they signed a player, Man United, in order. I think it was Nani was like due to do a drug test and was like certain he was going to fail. So Man United signed a player for like stupid money that no one had ever heard of. I think it was called. It's not Bebe, is it? It might be Bebe, but why would it? I don't know. And so they signed a player. And no one had heard of him, massive money, and they signed him because Nani's doctor
prescribed him,
took the L for Nani and got sacked and got arrested, and to reimburse him for taking Nani's L, they signed this player for fat money, and then this guy that got arrested on behalf of Nani, got all the money from that, well, like a percentage of the money from that transfer as like a fee for taking the bribe and like taking Nani's L, which is crazy.
Bebe's agent's Jorge Mendes, isn't it?
Yeah. And Jorge Mendes is the most fucked guy. It's mental that he's still in the industry doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just the nature of football being such a giant sport, that it is the sport of the human race, the sport of Earth. It is a lifestyle for so many people.
Yeah.
There are going to be just these cases where you look at it and go, something is not right here.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can literally watch a weekend of Premier League football or a weekend of football from the Bundesliga or Serie A, whatever, and there will always be something that you go, that's weird.
That is,
yeah. And that is, I mean, that is why it is a beautiful game, because it just is so.
Another one that this isn't like one that is like, it's kind of it's in my mind recently, because I don't know, it happened once, and then ever since the first time it happened, it's been happening constantly. Have you been noticing that more and more games are being stopped due to a fan in the crowd, like passing out or like having a heart attack or whatever? I mean, because I think I hadn't seen that ever happen really, and then it happened once, and now I can't stop noticing it every game I watch.
I've seen that happen a fair few times even when I was younger going to football games. I remember not the game being stopped, but people in the crowd collapsing, and you see the medics and stuff. I think obviously after Eriksen and after the recent spurt of it happening, I think it's there is like more of an awareness to it. So every time, like before, like when it happened at like Grimsby versus people like Gillingham,
bat an eyelid,
Sky Sports didn't go to Grimsby Gillingham and be like, the game's been stopped. The game wouldn't get stopped. People would just move out. The medics would go there and help the person out. But now, every time it happens, it's become a big deal. Time.
Like the one I remember like most vividly is Chelsea-Watford.
Yeah, and it was stopped for like 15 minutes.
And it stopped for ages. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
But you don't know it first,
literally the game immediately after happened again.
Like, pointed it out as well or something.
Yeah, I think, and Marcus Alonso.
Yeah, it's one of them.
And and then I was like, oh shit, this is happening quite a lot now. And then literally the next day, another game, it happened again. I think it was like Southampton someone. And I was like, how is this happening all the time?
People were linking it to the coronavirus vaccines and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Maybe that's causality, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's like almost like a recency bias, because people have something to associate it with. That's what they
that was just one that was on my
to.
mind, because I've seen that a lot.
Obviously, it's sad, and I think because of what happened with Eriksen and the recent amount of stuff, the football associations have made it
like more emphasis on making sure that everyone's alright.
No, they've made it what do you like, has
defibrillators.
To be they have, but basically every football stadium has to have one or more defibrillators in it, because if a person passes out and is unresponsive, I've just done a first aid course, so I know this, right?
Come on, did you?
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
If a person passes out and they're unresponsive and they're not breathing,
get the defibs out.
If you give them CPR, it only gives them a 10% chance to live.
Defibs is higher.
Defibs is 60%.
Oh, come on.
Survival rate. So, I mean, the fact that it maybe has spurred this on is fantastic. But, I mean, you know, it's obviously very sad. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory.
No, it's not. That's why I thought I'd slot it in the end. I was like, it's just weird. Yeah, this is like conspiracy theories and weird shit.
I mean,
I think that
I've seen some compilation on YouTube where there's like ghost shadows and stuff.
Yeah, the one you put in like the little trailer of that guy with the ball and he's like making it float. I was like, that shit's weird.
There's like we didn't talk about the Yaya Toure voodoo curse on Pep
he's
Guardiola.
Like cursed Pep for the Champions League because he didn't get a birthday cake.
I mean, it's a theory.
Yeah, he put some judge on Pep Guardiola.
Pep's big bald head.
That's so funny. He just didn't get a birthday. So basically, that long story short, Pep didn't buy him a birthday cake. He's a little bit butthurt and put some judge on City not winning the Champions League. He was like, you will never win the Champions League.
I heard something about it was like Rwanda versus Uganda or something, and the Rwandan keeper had like this thing tied onto the net of his goal, and it was like meant to be this thing that symbolised not getting scored against or something. And then the Uganda player went over and took it off, and they scored 6 goals.
That's so funny.
Like what? There was like one who brought a shaman to the game, and lightning struck the entire opposition team.
That's so weird.
And, like 11 men just died.
Well, it's like the African. Fucking hell, that's mad. I was talking about the African Cup of Nations where Salah was taking the pen, and like literally everyone and their mum was like laser pointer in his eyes.
That's mad.
Isn't that fun?
How is that a run?
So mad.
Do you know when I was little, I was told if you shine it in the sky, you get arrested.
I used to get so scared of laser pointers. Like, going
you just think you get blinded.
Yeah, like you couldn't shine them in the air because like a pilot might see it and like crash the plane. That's what my mum used to say. She was like, you can't fire that in the sky or a plane will crash. And I was like, blood clot.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I don't know.
We're waffling now.
But, I mean, I think we're going to wrap it up anyway.
I hope you enjoyed us just waffling about some random conspiracies.
Hopefully next week we have some more stuff to talk about. We're going to talk actual
football next week. We're going to start to be honest, preview of the Prem teams.
So obviously the Championship starts at the end of July, which is fantastic.
Football comes around quick.
Oh, do you know what? I miss it though.
Normal summers, you're like, fuck me, this is long. Football's back in like 5 weeks.
Yeah, we got so much football coming up this year as well, with the World Cup as well. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be good. Content out the ears,
literally,
mate.
Next week we're back to normal football talk. We're going to be doing more transfer talks. We're obviously going to, I think, teams pre-season starting as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lot of players with the contracts expiring. Gareth Bale to Cardiff, maybe.
Pogba.
I would love
again.
Gareth Bale to Cardiff.
Come on. Yeah, Gareth Bale to Cardiff.
Yeah, and
sick.
We're going to be hopefully doing our team season previews and stuff like that.
Kind of like predictions of the league and
more
stuff.
And more kits coming out. We're going to do a kit ranking as well. So just keep your eyes peeled because the content's going to be flowing.
As always, follow us on the socials.
Follow us
Twitter,
on socials,
Insta, TikTok will be starting up soon.
TikTok's coming out this week.
Keep an eyes on that one.
TikTok's coming out this week.
Yeah, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music,
YouTube.
Hopefully
next week we'll have a camera as well.
Yeah,
maybe we'll
so
that's
something we didn't even talk about. Obviously, this has all been audio only recently, but you might be able to see our lovely faces this time next week, which is crazy. Don't get too excited.
Could be happening. It might go horribly wrong.
Yeah, don't get too excited.
Anyway, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks always.
This has been BoreDraw.
Love you.
Yeah, and it's live.
Bye.